am a firm believer of building outside of my comfort zone. In order to become a better modeler, I want to push my boundaries and try new techniques. I can only improve so much building and painting World War II armor, and from time to time, I have to branch out. This is not as comfortable, especially showing off my work, but I hope to encourage you to try new things so that you will improve as well. Speaking of new things, I tried my hand at scribing panel lines, and I'm not great at it, but I really enjoyed the rivet maker. That being said, I am not going to focus on teaching anything in this video. The work will speak for itself. Those of you into aircraft modeling, or those that have built this kit before, it's Tamiya's 1/48th scale A-10, by the way. You may notice that I don't paint the colors that match the decals provided. In fact, I mix and match them. I'm not sure the rivets are in the correct spot, and I don't fix the figure in the cockpit, even though a raisin would probably have more details to paint. No, this is truly just an exercise in doing things that I am not comfortable with. Scribing, and getting a kit with questionable fitment to have smooth joints. That and the paint. I wanted to try to paint depth into an aircraft with large, flat panels. And that, I think, was a success. This is where I found the scriber most useful. After having to sand away most of the details to make the seams fit, it took lots of filling and sanding. I even bought this template so I could make squares more easily. And I can tell you, I don't think I've ever sanded a model as much as I sanded this one. But gaps were filled and wings were placed, and it was on to the next steps. I improved the cannon best I could. Again, this was not the focus of this build. And after some test fitting, it was time to get ready for paint. And with aircraft, that means protecting the interior that you've already painted and masking off the canopy. And after priming, what do you know, more filling needed to be done. I really wanted this to be perfect since most other aspects of the build were not. I did want to share one little tip. I used this white putty from AK, and it's water-based, so you can actually clean up most of the seam with water. Then it was finally time to paint. I'm gonna step away for a little bit and let you watch my process. It is a 3-tone camouflage, even though it is hard to see. But it'll be pretty evident once you start seeing the weathering steps. So with that, I will check back in when that is done. And now we're back with the armament. Painting the weapons was actually much more comfortable, especially the ones painted olive drab. This was still a lot of masking, but once I was working with these colors, it was much more comfortable, and my usual process was a little bit easier to follow. I did use some of the extra decals to spice up some of the weapons a little bit, since it looked like in the box art they were covered in words. And while this radar-guided bomb had some glass with it, these other ones did not, so I filled them with some clear resin and called it a day. Now, as for the main weapon of the A-10, most of you know, is the massive cannon that takes up most of the front of the aircraft. And for this, I had tons of reference photos showing all of the soot and smoke that actually comes out of this thing. They had to design some of the aircraft and the placement of the engines just so the soot from this weapon would not clog and stall the engines. So I thought that was pretty cool. And so then it was just time for some finishing touches, bringing that grime up the sides of the aircraft and calling it finished. I hope you enjoyed it, and rest assured there is some German armor on the workbench as I speak. If you've made it this far, please consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. And thank you all so much for watching. Till next time, see ya.
You